The midday sun bore down on the congested lanes of Midtown Boulevard, heat shimmering off car hoods. Drivers fumed in the gridlock traffic, horns echoing up glass towers. Jason Statham, behind the wheel of a sleek black sports sedan, waited patiently to inch forward. His engine purred, eager for open road. But he merely checked his mirrors, calm despite the jam. He was in town for press appearances, a quick stop in an otherwise grueling schedule. No sense losing composure. He rolled down the window slightly, letting a warm breeze filter in. Up ahead, city workers in neon vests were repairing a stretch of cracked asphalt, funneling cars into a single lane. Everyone seemed impatient, but resigned to the crawling pace. That is, until an angry roar of motorcycle engines broke the lull. On the shoulder behind him, half a dozen bikers appeared, their bikes rumbling with guttural thunder, weaving between stagnant cars, ignoring the orange cones blocking off the lane. Immediately, tension rippled through the line of drivers. Some stared out windows, anxiously eyeing the bikers who zipped precariously close. The pack, clad in black leather vests, wore a distinctive patch on their backs, a snarling wolf's head under the name Iron Wolves. Even from a distance, one could sense they were trouble, buzzing with restless energy, fueled by the arrogance of men who believed the road belonged to them. Jason watched them in his side mirror, brows furrowing. Biker gang. He'd encountered plenty of tough crowds in his life, both on film sets and the occasional real-life run-in. The way these riders cut dangerously between lanes, rearing their throttles, signaled they cared little for rules or courtesy. He stayed alert, heart quietly quickening. One of the bikers, presumably the leader, taller, heavily tattooed arms, a caged grin, spotted Jason's sports car and steered over. The rest followed, forming a half-circle behind him. The leader revved his engine, creeping up on Jason's driver's side door, forcing the car to the curb. The stench of exhaust and sweaty leather seeped through the open window. "Hey, hotshot," the leader called, smacking the palm of his glove against the top of Jason's car. "Mind moving that fancy toy out our way?" His voice carried a mocking drawl, eyes gleaming with challenge. Jason's jaw tightened. He'd advanced maybe 5 feet in the last 10 minutes. There was nowhere to move in this gridlock. He forced calm into his voice. "Traffic's stuck, mate. We're all waiting. There's no place to go." The leader let out a short laugh, which drew similar snickers from his gang. "You're just gonna sit here? We got business up the road, and we're not waiting behind some actor's ride." He might not have recognized Jason outright, but maybe saw the sign of a well-kept sports car and guessed at wealth or celebrity. Another biker yanked at the side mirror, feigning curiosity. The mirror wobbled alarmingly. Jason inhaled. "Knock that off." He didn't raise his voice, but steel laced his words. "We're all stuck in the same jam. Take your turn like everyone else." A second biker with a flame tattoo creeping up his neck sneered. "We don't do lines, buddy. We own the road." He revved the throttle, engine snarling as if to emphasize his point. A low hum of tension spread among the surrounding cars. Windows rolled up, phones peeked out to film. People sensed trouble. Jason kept his composure. "Don't escalate." But the biker messing with his mirror jerked it aggressively again. Enough was enough. Jason braced a hand on the inside door handle, half ready to step out. But the leader, reading that motion, snorted. "Stay in your seat, tough guy? Unless you want a real problem." Jason weighed his options. If he got out, the situation might spark into a brawl. The gang had numbers, plus they were well known to rely on intimidation. On the other hand, letting them damage his car was out of the question. "Look, I don't want trouble," he said. "But back off the car. I'll move when it's possible." The leader smirked, glancing at the rest of the pack. "He says back off, lads. Ooh, big talk. Maybe we show him what happens if we want him to move now." Another gang member, shorter, stocky, with a braided beard, dug into his vest pocket, retrieving a small metal object. He held it up, letting the sun glint off the blade of a pocket knife. A hush fell among the watchers in nearby vehicles. Jason's heart pumped adrenaline, but outwardly, he remained calm. He recognized that pushing them physically might incite them to draw more weapons. They obviously believed intimidation would give them full control. "I'm warning you," Jason said, voice dropping to a lethal calm. "Don't scratch my car or threaten me. It won't end well for you." A scoff from the bearded biker. "Fancy ride, fancy mouth. We could slice the tires. Then see how tough you act." He flipped the small blade with a flourish, as though hoping to unnerve Jason. The traffic stuttered forward an inch or two. Cars honked in frustration. The gang refused to yield, half blocking the lane. The lead biker turned his attention to the plastic covering on Jason's rear taillight. "Let's see what he does if we carve a little message," he said, leaning sideways. The blade hovered near the paint. Jason's pulse hammered. He unlatched the door, ignoring the man's earlier warning, and pushed it open. Immediately, the lead biker hopped off his seat, stepping around to confront him. The other gang members revved their bikes, as if choreographing a standoff. Some inside cars gasped, filming. Jason emerged, standing tall, posture steady. You want to pick on me? Do it face to face. Leave the car out of it. For a moment, the leader sized him up. Recognition flickered across his eyes. He might have realized, this is Jason Statham. A second's hesitation, quickly replaced by bravado. You think we're scared of a movie star? This is real life, pal, not your Hollywood stunts. Jason's features hardened. You're messing with the wrong man, he said simply. A thin grin stretched over the leader's face. We'll see. He gave a nod to the bearded biker. The man took a step forward, brandishing the blade near Jason's midsection. Jason tensed, scanning for the other two. They hovered behind, arms folded, smirks plastered. Possibly armed, definitely itching for a fight. The leader let out a chuckle. We run these streets. Outsiders either fall in line or get taught a lesson. So which is it? Jason locked eyes with him. You call yourselves a gang? You're just bullies on bikes. His voice was quiet. I'm giving you one chance to ride off. This doesn't have to get ugly. A hush. Drivers craned their necks, some leaning out windows. The gang members briefly exchanged looks. None wanted to back down. The tension soared. Then the bearded one lunged, aiming the blade. Instantly, Jason sidestepped. The blade whiffed air. The man stumbled, unprepared for Jason's fluid reflexes. Jason seized the man's wrist, twisting it downward with a practiced motion. The blade clattered to the asphalt. A swift palm strike to the attacker's chest sent him reeling backward into the side of a pickup truck with a metallic clang. Pandemonium. The next biker, wiry with a shaved head, rushed from the right, fist swinging. Jason blocked the first punch, deflecting with a forearm, then delivered a short elbow to the man's jaw. The wiry biker staggered, dazed. Another tried a roundhouse punch from behind. Jason pivoted, hooking the attacker's arm and flipping him onto the hood of a nearby sedan. Gasps erupted from inside that sedan. The occupant screamed. All the while, horns blared from stuck cars, onlookers half livid, half transfixed. The big leader glared, yanking off his helmet. He brandished it like a weapon. You'll pay for that, he yelled, rushing forward. He swung the helmet in a wide arc aimed at Jason's temple. Jason ducked, letting it pass overhead, then hammered a counterpunch to the man's gut. The leader grunted, dropping to a knee. A beat of stunned silence. The battered gang members reeled. Painted illusions of unstoppable power now shattered by one man's skill. Jason scanned them, chest heaving with adrenaline. The entire fiasco had occurred in seconds, but to the bystanders, it was a mesmerizing display, like an action film come to life. The bearded biker tried to stand, cursing, but Jason turned, leveling a warning glare. Stay down, he growled. You lost this. The big leader, kneeling, spat at Jason's feet. You can't humiliate us. We'll get you back, man. We got 100 riders behind us. Jason raised an eyebrow. Then I suggest they keep riding. Because messing with me won't do you any favors. He turned away, walking back to his car. Some watchers might have expected him to deal more punishment, but Jason had proven his point. The gang members, moaning and furious, glared, but none dared approach again. They had no illusions now about their advantage. A trembling driver in the next car lowered her phone, exhaling, "Oh my God," while another occupant clapped lightly. Someone behind them in a truck shouted, "Way to go." But Jason barely acknowledged it, more concerned with the potential for the gang to escalate. The battered men hobbled to their bikes, the big leader still fuming. He started his engine with a snarl, roaring off the curb, the others trailing, spitting curses at traffic. The last one cast a hateful glare at Jason's license plate, as if memorizing it. As they peeled away, the jam began inching forward again. Jason re-entered his car, adrenaline slowly receding. He felt mild bruises forming, some from the deflected hits. Could have been worse, he mused. At least no one else was hurt. Checking his rear view, he confirmed the gang vanished onto a side street, weaving around stunned motorists. He eased into the traffic line, ignoring the stares from passersby. This city was chaotic enough without brazen biker gangs fueling drama. He'd defended himself, taught them a lesson about cornering the wrong target. Yet a pang of worry lingered. Men with shattered pride sometimes sought revenge. This might not be the last he'd see of them. As the jam cleared, Jason merged onto the freeway, letting the engine hum soothe his nerves. The city lights blurred past. He tried focusing on the next day's obligations, interviews, a promotional event. But part of him remained on alert, braced for the possibility that these punks wouldn't let the matter drop. Regardless, he'd done what needed to be done. Bullies seldom learned any other way. If they insisted on crossing him again, he wouldn't shy from finishing the lesson. The roads might be big enough for all, but if a biker gang tries to intimidate Jason Statham, they might just find themselves flattened by a force they never saw coming. The morning after the parking lot brawl, news of the incident spread through local rumor mills. Some passersby had snapped photos or shot quick clips of Jason's swift takedown, uploading them to social media with breathless captions. Jason Statham fights off biker gang. In a city teeming with sensational news, it soon became a trending topic. Journalists pestered Jason's publicist for details, but he brushed them off. He wasn't seeking publicity over a scuffle. Meanwhile, the bikers licked their wounds in a dimly lit garage on the edge of town. The big leader, Shane, paced with a limp, fury etched in every line of his face. "We had him outnumbered," he kept muttering. "Still he made fools of us. That can't stand." The rest nursed bruises, glancing at each other uncertainly. Usually, they were the unstoppable force, rolling around terrorizing roads. But one man had dismantled them with startling ease. Shane refused to accept defeat. "We'll find him," he declared. "I saw the plates. I got a partial. We can track his route, watch his usual haunts. He's just a fancy actor, right? We'll corner him." One of the gang, nursing a bandaged forearm, sounded hesitant. "Boss, you saw what he did. That's not normal. We might need more guys. Guns, maybe." Shane's scowl deepened. "We're the Iron Skulls. We don't need an army to handle one man. We just need to catch him off guard. No cameras, no crowd. Make him regret messing with us." They rallied under that notion, ignoring the undercurrent of fear. Plans formed. They'd stake out prominent city spots, maybe the set where he might be filming or the hotel district. Sooner or later, they believed, they'd get him in a vulnerable place. Jason, oblivious to the specifics, nonetheless remained cautious. Each time he left his hotel, he scanned for suspicious bikes. At his promotional events, security escorted him. He carried on, hoping the punks realized another confrontation would end the same way. But midweek, after finishing a workout at a local gym, he emerged to find a note pinned to his driver's side door handle. It read, "We're coming. You'll regret crossing us." No signature, but he didn't need one. The gang had found him. A flicker of anger and concern warred inside him. He refused to live in fear. If they wanted a second round, he'd be ready. But he also disliked the possibility of innocent bystanders getting caught in a messy fight. So he quietly informed local authorities that an outlaw biker group might be targeting him. The police took note, stepping up patrols near big events where Jason might appear. A day passed quietly, then two. On the third, as Jason left a late-night talk show taping, the big confrontation happened. The show's studio was located in a trendy district, all neon signs and bustling bars. The Rock. Jason Statham. Typo correction. We want to keep it consistent for Jason Statham, not The Rock. Finished filming around midnight, stepping onto the sidewalk with a small security detail trailing behind. He planned to hop into a black SUV for a quick ride back to his hotel. But the moment he neared the vehicle, revving engines echoed from up the street. In the pale glow of streetlights, half a dozen riders emerged, helmets off, leather vests, the same scowling faces from that parking lot, plus a few new ones. They rumbled in, forming a line across the road, blocking traffic. Pedestrians shrank back, alarmed. The security detail tensed, exchanging worried looks. The lead bodyguard whispered, "We should get you inside." But Jason recognized retreat would only incite the gang further. They'd come for a spectacle. He calmly shook his head, stepping forward, leaving the SUV's door half open. "Stay alert, but let's not run," he murmured to the guards. "We can handle them." Shane, the big leader, hopped off his bike, removing a battered helmet. "Found you again," he sneered. "You're not in that fancy public lot with cameras. Now it's just you and us." His men fanned out, engines idling behind them, headlights glaring. The bodyguards, though armed, hesitated to escalate. They didn't want to shoot out in the street. Jason signaled them to hold back. "No need for guns," he said quietly, stepping onto the pavement, the city's neon dancing on wet asphalt around him. "We can end this peacefully if you just ride away." Shane barked a laugh. "Peaceful? Not after you made us a laughingstock. We had to rebuild our rep. Everyone's mocking the Iron Skulls." He flicked a glance at the guards. "Your rent-a-cops better stand aside. This is personal." Jason's eyes narrowed. "You attacked me once, vandalized my car, threatened me again, and this is your attempt at retribution?" He shook his head, a mixture of disbelief and pity. "Walking away is your best move. If you're determined to fight, I'll defend myself again." Shane's lips peeled back in a grin. "We brought more men. This time you're not walking away so easy." The sound of revving bikes behind them grew louder as the other riders advanced. A crowd of onlookers formed near the sidewalks, some filming or peering from bar windows, enthralled by the confrontation. Jason's heartbeat pounded in his ears. He read their posture. Shane and maybe 8 riders, all itching for a brawl, likely carrying weapons. The tension soared as the group tightened their circle. The bodyguards readied themselves, but Jason motioned them to keep the perimeter safe from stray riders. He'd handle the main force. The first blow came from a rider who hopped off his bike, wielding a short baton. He lunged at a bodyguard. Jason pivoted, intercepting the baton mid-swing with a forearm block. He twisted the attacker's wrist, forcing him to drop it. Then a swift front kick to the chest sent the man sprawling backward into his own bike. The crowd gasped. Shane roared, "Take him." Another pair charged, fists raised. Jason sidestepped one's wild hook, delivered a quick elbow to the temple, then deflected the other's punch with a high block. Twisting behind him, Jason locked an arm across his chest, flipping him onto the concrete with a bruising thud. Shouts erupted from bystanders. The neon-lit street turned into a chaotic ring, bikes revving, punches flying. Jason moved with sharp efficiency, each strike measured but decisive. The bodyguards staved off a couple riders trying to flank Jason, while onlookers whipped out phones, capturing the real-life action scene unfolding. Shane waded into the fray, brandishing a chain. He swung it like a whip at Jason's back, but Jason caught the chain mid-flight, yanking Shane forward. A short uppercut hammered Shane's jaw, forcing him to release the chain. Jason followed up with a knee to Shane's ribs, driving the air from him. The leader stumbled, choking on pain. Riders who boasted unstoppable might now recognize their dire miscalculation. One lunged with a switchblade, but the biggest bodyguard seized his wrist, disarming him. Another tried to rev his bike forward, intending to scare Jason by skidding close, but a second guard pulled him off the seat. The synergy between Jason's skill and the guard's training overwhelmed the gang's reckless bravado. Finally, battered and breathless, the punks realized the fight was lost. Half were down, moaning on the pavement. The rest retreated, stumbling or limping back to their bikes. Shane, panting, cradled cracked ribs. He glared at Jason, spitting blood. "You'll regret this. You can't humiliate us all." Jason's eyes flashed with finality. "You humiliate yourselves every time you threaten innocent people. This is on you." He advanced a step, ignoring the throbbing ache in his forearms. "Now ride off. Next time, the cops will handle you." Shane's face twisted with hatred, but survival instincts overruled pride. He waved a trembling hand for his men to mount up. Engines revved, headlights piercing the darkness. The battered group fled, leaving behind broken bits of plastic from bikes, scattered weapons, and a swirl of gawking onlookers. Police sirens approached swiftly. The bodyguards flagged them down, explaining the situation. Jason gave a brief statement, verifying he and his security had acted in self-defense. The cops recognized him, nodded in understanding, and took details for a follow-up. They'd likely comb the city for the battered gang. For now, the immediate threat was quelled. As the evening quieted, crowds dissipated, some cheering quietly for Jason. He politely declined any further interviews or photos, seeking only to ensure no bystander was harmed. With the dust settled, he slipped into his SUV, bodyguards at his side, heading back to the hotel. Tired, bruised, but triumphant. Over the next days, local news hailed the late-night rumble, praising Jason for intervening against a known menace. The Iron Skulls, once bragging about controlling the roads, were forced into hiding, their battered reputations trailing them. Meanwhile, Jason simply returned to his routine, finishing press obligations. He'd proven, once more, that bullies who test him quickly discover their mistake. Because a real champion doesn't seek violence, he ends it. And when a biker gang decided to provoke Jason Statham in traffic, they learned in the harshest way possible. A man who masters both discipline and moral conviction is a force no misguided bravado can conquer. Their regret was instant, but the memory would last far longer than the bruises, echoing every time they revved an engine, reminding them that picking the wrong fight can lead to a lesson one never forgets.